Hey my friends, Mike Shreve here. Friday, believe it or not, I don't know if you guys can see how dark it is out here. It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, the Northwest is a lovely place. I am on my walk yet again. I might just end up doing these Facebook Lives more and more from the walk in the woods. Weather permitting, of course. It might rain on us here in a second. Today, I want to actually talk to you about how to turn the self-doubt, that inner voice that says you're not good enough, here's the reasons why people aren't going to buy from you. I want to teach you how to take that part of your brain and actually use it to get more clients, okay? So we're going to have a lot of fun on today's walk in the woods. So it goes like this. There is a copywriting trick, okay? I guess you could say trick, I hate that word, but a copywriting strategy and technique that copywriters from Agora, which is a really, really big, fancy company that hires the best copywriters in the world, this is a method that they use to increase their conversions. I'm going to teach it to you, and then I'm going to share with you how to use it in your own freelancing business and how you can use that to create clients and all these kinds of good things. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a piece of paper, or preferably Post-it notes if you have them. Get some Post-it notes, and on every single Post-it note, write down exactly why someone would not purchase your services. All those thoughts that you have of negativity, of I'm not good enough and this isn't going to work, that's where you get to use all of those negative the reasons that you think nobody's going to buy from you. I'm not good enough. It's too expensive. They don't want to buy from me. I got to step over this log real quick. I'm not experienced enough. I don't have enough client results, etc., etc. Whatever those reasons are, write them down, and write all of them down. Every single thought. Keep writing them down whenever you have ideas. Check out this. Let's see. Isn't that beautiful? So take all of that self-doubt that you have, write it on Post-it notes. Every single reason gets its own Post-it note, okay? Then, what I want you to do is to understand that what you have just identified, what you've just written down, is what's called objections. So every sales process of any type or variety, whether it's selling a widget online or whether it's selling your services, there is a series of objections that you have to overcome, right? So let me give you an example. If you and I were in a parking lot and I said, hey dude, come over here. In the trunk of my car is a bag of gold and it's all yours. What is your likely reaction to that offer? It's probably like, that sounds really, really cool, but here's 10 reasons why, I need you to confirm that you're not going to mug me, basically, in the parking lot, right? It's the same process that your client goes through when they're thinking about hiring you. You can say, listen, I'm going to create the best blog post that you've ever written. Thousands of people that you've ever read, thousands of people are going to read this blog post. It's going to be so amazing. They're in their mind, they're going to say, okay, that sounds great, but how do I know you're not going to screw me? Right? And that's just the reality of the selling situation. So no matter how good your promise is, we talk about obscene offers in the No Pants coaching program. No matter how good that is, there's always going to be some objection to what you're doing. So write all of those objections down. Use the fear and the self-doubt that you have to generate the objections. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a sheet of paper, or you can use another set of Post-it notes. And your job now that you've listed all the objectives is to figure out how to overcome each of these objectives. And here's how you do that. You have 3 tools at your disposal for turning an objection into something that actually attracts a client to you. And here's how it works. You can use story, and we'll talk about that in a second. You can use proof, or you can use emotional fortune telling. Okay, so let's talk about those 3 right now. Okay, so storytelling. Let's say that you let me give you an example of my storytelling. So a lot of people, when they're about to purchase the No Pants Project program, they think to myself, I can't do it. It's too hard. Starting a freelancing business is too hard. I've got too much going on in my life. I can't do it. That's an objection. And we get that objection all the time. So I tell my story about how I was, and it's a true story, like don't make up stories. This isn't fiction class. This is objection overcoming class, right? I tell the story of I got into freelancing when I was homeless because frankly, freelancing is about as easy as it gets in terms of being able to go from zero to full time as quickly as possible. You don't have staff overhead, you don't have all these different things, right? So that's my story to help people to overcome the objection that they have in their mind, which is, this is too hard. I'm never going to be able to do this. I have too much going on in my life. So for your objections, what stories can you tell to help them realize that, frankly, the objection they have in their mind is wrong? Now, we're not trying to be rude, and we're not trying to be, I know more than you, and arrogant and these types of things. What we're trying to do is help to smooth the path for the people we can help as service providers so that they can, let's be real here, get out of their own way. Most people, and you know this is true, you know it's true about yourself, I know it's true about myself, most people just get in their own way, right? When they're trying to accomplish something, you as a service provider, when speaking with your clients, being able to help them overcome their objections is not a sleazy tactic, it is a way for people to get out of their own way. I got a question here from Spencer Williams. Were you really homeless? Yes, sir. I was really homeless. I'm talking about living in, if you're familiar with Portland, it is the Washington Park area. There's a lot of younger people who are homeless in that park. What you do, and you can actually, if you go to the Washington Park area, you can see this a lot. What I would do is I had a tent and I would sleep in, it's kind of a good example. So the Washington Park basically looks like this. This is not Washington Park, but it's pretty wooded, as you can see. And we would just, and when I say we, because there's quite a few of us, we would just find a little off trail and sleep in the tent. Sleep in a tent sort of off the trail a little bit. So yes, I was legitimately homeless, and that's a key important part of overcoming objections, is the story must be true. It has to be true. Otherwise, you're a shyster, right? Nobody wants to be a shyster. Okay, so that is a story component that you can use. Number 2 that we talked about is proof. Now, let's say that you are helping chiropractors with your Facebook ads, let's just say. And by the way, Spencer, actually, we just talked about this earlier, about my whole story, about how I became homeless. It's actually why the No Pants Project donates a bunch of money to Vogel Alcove, who is a nonprofit that works with homeless women and children. See, S.J. Creek says, I was homeless too, living in a warehouse. Recently, now I'm staying with a friend and starting a freelance Byzantine iconography. Yeah, so, homelessness is it's a big deal. It really is. There's a lot more homeless people, and no, they're not all alcoholics, and no, they're not all crazy people. I would say, this is sort of totally a tangent, you guys, and I'll get back onto the main topic. Most people are a lot closer to homelessness than they think they are. They think they're secure, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you are dang close to homelessness. It doesn't take that many bad things in a row for you to lose everything. Anyways, not to freak anybody out, but, it's not, like I said, it's not just alcoholics and crazy people. There's a lot of elderly people. There's a lot of single moms that are homeless, et cetera, et cetera. It's a real issue. It's like a huge issue. It's why the No Pants Project, we do a lot of work with homelessness. As a matter of fact, for those of you who participated in the Fast Client Getting workshop, and you purchased in December, and you helped us to build those houses in Nicaragua, I've got some pictures for you coming this weekend from the project. They completed it. The houses are beautiful. The families are moved in. I will send those pictures to y'all in the open group so you guys can see that. Anyways, okay, so we're back on to proof as the second mechanism for overcoming objections. So proof is, let's say that you are working with a chiropractor, and let's say that, or you want to work with chiropractors and you want to run their Facebook ads, let's just say, for example. One of the things that chiropractors are going to say is, hey, you know what? Facebook ads don't work for chiropractors because maybe they were burned in the past. Maybe they hired an SEO person and they just assume that SEO is the same thing as Facebook ads. Whatever the reason is, they need to see proof. So what you can do is, if you have a case study of a chiropractor getting results with the thing that you do for people, that is a proof tool to use to overcome that objection. Okay? Now, here's the cool thing about case studies. People assume that the case study has to be something that you did. That is not true. Remember, the objection is Facebook ads doesn't work for chiropractors. The reality is that they just want to see that someone has done it before. If you can take someone else's case study, and obviously you need to get permission if you're going to use it, and don't claim that it's yours. Be above board, you guys. Honesty and integrity all the way. But you can say, hey, check out this blog post. You can even just link directly to it. I want to show you that this is what chiropractors do, or this is what happens when what Facebook can do for chiropractors. That's the exact same method I do as a service provider if you want me to just do it for you. Boom, objection. You've overcome the objection, okay? So that's proof. And then the third mechanism, which is called emotional fortune telling. People, in general, are future facing, meaning they are either positively looking forward to a different life, or they are fearing the future. So one of the most powerful things you can do to overcome pretty much any objection is to help them to imagine as solidly as possible the results that you will get for them. Okay? There's a couple ways you can do that. Of course, you can do case studies. You can use storytelling. You can also just say, hey, here's what I'm going to do for you. Now, don't overpromise. Make sure that you are, staying, again, honesty and integrity, because that, if you are dishonest, you guys, that's just going to bite you in the butt really, really fast. So make sure you're full integrity, full honesty, and tell them what will happen if they work with you. Now, earlier I said I was going to teach you how to use all of this to get more clients. Okay, great, Mike. You told us how to, how to overcome objections, but what does that actually mean? How do we actually put it into practice? So for those of you who are in the No Pants Project coaching program and you're working on the email list and you're working on the daily emails, guess what, you guys? Take all of those Post-it notes, take all of the mechanisms and the tools you're going to use to overcome the objections that you wrote down, and every single one of those can be an email. You could actually probably write 10 emails for every single objection that you have, right? So let's say one of the objections is, this isn't going to work for me. Well, every time you have a client victory, every time you see something online, every time you come up with proof, every time you want to talk about the future life that they're going to have, that's an email. Short and sweet, to the point, offer them to work with you, right? So that's one way that you can do this. Another way, so turn them into your emails, right? Another way is to just the act of writing down objections puts your mind in a different frame of mind, meaning you now can see and be empathetic towards the person on the other end of whatever communication you're having. When you can understand what the potential client is actually thinking, meaning they're not thinking you're awesome, they're thinking, how am I not going to get screwed by this person? Basically, right? I have all these lists of objections. You can have conversations and talk about those things using either story, proof, or emotional fortune telling, okay? So that, my friends, is how you can turn inner doubt into a tool for getting more clients. If you guys have any questions, pop them in. I'm just on my walk here. I might stick around for a few more minutes, answer some questions. I'll give you a quick little look at the trail I'm walking on here. This is just right outside my house. It's a little park behind my house. I absolutely love doing my daily walks out here. A little bit dark today. Could use the sun. I was in Phoenix just last week. And man, the sun was nice. It was like 65 degrees or something. It was beautiful. Okay, let's see. I've been doing a daily email and it's starting to work. I'll have to try this, Mike. How do I get on your copywriting email list that you've been doing for 7 years? And how do I get on your Work Smarter No Pants email list? So my copywriting email list is actually closed at the moment. I am beyond booked right now, actually. I've had to, because I started the No Pants project, I've actually had to cut back a little bit on my freelancing. So I'm not actively putting people on that list at the moment. However, well, let me say, that's the beauty of an email list, right? So if you take care of it, if the daily emails that you send are, if the daily emails that you send are of value, I've had people on my email list and built relationships over the 6, 7, however many years it has been that I've had an email list that haven't even bought from me. Someday they may, someday they may never, but that's a cool thing. So you can actually turn your email list on and off. I actually talk about this in the, should be above, there's a workshop where I go into a little bit more depth about how the email list, what role it plays in the overall business structure. So having an email list isn't a business. It's just a way to communicate. The business itself, I mean, there's passive income freelancers who are smart, have passive income. There's being able to identify your superpowers so you differentiate yourself, etc., etc. So, anyways, SJ, to get on the No Pants email list, if you just sign up for the workshop above, you don't even have to go to the workshop, but if you sign up for it, there'll be some follow-up emails. Because at the end of that workshop, I do invite you to join our coaching program. And as you can see, I'm getting out of breath a little bit because we're going uphill now. So I do have a No Pants coaching program offer at the end of that workshop, so you don't even need to watch it if you don't want to. There'll be a couple days of follow-up emails that are all automated, and then after that, you'll be dropped into our daily email for that. I also think there's another URL. If you go to thenopantsproject.com/free-gift, I think that one gives you the anti-commodity formula. Not 100% sure. I'll put up another link when I get back home for what that URL is. Let's see, Laura Atwell says, beautiful trail. Easy access to something similar is on my desires list. Yeah, this was super, super important. So I got totally spoiled when I did live in Portland, before I had to go live in Washington Park. There's a place called Forest Park, which is like 80 plus miles of trails. Just beautiful. I think it's one of the largest city parks in the U.S. I don't know if it's larger than Central Park. It may be, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, trails are my true love. I love being out in the woods, having a good time. All right, my friends, if you don't have any more questions, I think I will call this a day. It's a beautiful Friday. Got a big weekend. I don't know if any of you guys are going to be watching the Super Bowl, hanging out with friends or family. We're going to go probably, frankly, into the woods on Sunday. We figure around here there's probably not going to be too many people. I'll be watching the Super Bowl. And go take our car out and maybe get on some trails and go hiking and just be outside for a little bit. It's nice to turn things off, cut the computer, put the computer away, turn the phone off, no clients, no nothing, and just connect with your family and have a good time. So, All right, my friends, I hope this was helpful. I hope that it served you. I love you all so much. Keep going. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Keep progressing. And I will talk to y'all later.